we're going to talk about how to do cheap tripods, how to do cheap sound, and how to do cheap light. So I think I'm just going to start first by telling you about my stuff, my Mojo kit. Hi Berna, hello, thanks for joining. I have bought a lot of stuff over the years to do Mojo. I have bought everything. I've bought tripods, stabilizers, microphones, a lot of microphones, external lenses, and lots of other stuff to try out. And what I found is that most of that stuff is spending a lot of time in my cupboard, gathering dust. When I go out on a shoot, what I take is a tripod, a microphone, and maybe a little light, and that's everything. I don't use external lenses. I don't use stabilizers. Yeah, sometimes I play around with it, but on my daily shoot as a journalist, I don't use all that stuff. So there's not a lot in my daily bag. I teach a lot of organizations about Mojo, about how to get started in mobile journalism, and usually even the more high up organizations that have a lot of money to spend think of Mojo as the cheap option, and they spend nothing from that very big budget on mobile journalism. They want to buy the cheapest microphones as possible, the cheapest tripods as possible, even the cheapest phones as possible, and expect to get high budget results from cheap solutions. And let's just start off with saying that that's not how I would advise you to start doing mobile journalism. If you have some money to spend on professional equipment, please do so. It will improve the quality of what you can do with mobile journalism. But of course, you could be in the situation that you don't have a lot of money to spend, but still want to shoot professional video, get professional radio quality sound, and without a budget really start doing the work. And there are some ways you can improve your video a lot, even with free stuff. I have some tips for you that I'm going to discuss in the next couple of minutes. And if you have something to add, please drop a line. If you have a hack of your own or a tip to share with us all, and I'll try to take that into account. Hello, Matthew. Welcome. Thanks for joining. The first thing I want to discuss is what makes a video look professional. Because knowing what makes a video professional gives you some pointers in where you should, what you should do. First of all, what makes a video look professional is have a quality picture, of course, with quality light. It looks like it has been done with a professional setup. The second thing you want from your video, if you ever look at amateur video on YouTube or wherever, you will probably notice that most of the video shot with phones is rather shaky. So stabilizing your shots is very important to make it more professional. People would want to look at professional video, from beginning to end if it's properly stabilized. So good lighting, steady shot, and of course good audio. And I'm going to discuss each of those things. First up, good light. What I use is a small LED light. Well, actually LED, I'm not quite sure. It's listing here. It's very small but very very bright. I can turn it on if I press it. Or the battery's dead. The battery's dead. So can't really show you that, but you get the idea. It's a very tiny tiny light with 4 LED lights from different colors. It's an eye blazer too. I use that a lot, but I don't always take it, and sometimes I have to find a way to get professional light anyway. So what you can do is, well, first of all, let's discuss what you shouldn't do. And what you shouldn't do is use the light on your smartphone. The tiny flashlight that's next to the lens, if you use that for video and there's a person in your shot, the light will get reflected into the lens, and that would give them either red eyes or a very weird effect in their eyes that you don't want. So the light is too close to the lens, so don't use that. Try and use the lens or the light that is in the room or at the location where you're doing your shoot. That sounds like a very cheap shot, but that's really the best way to go. It gives you the nicest shots. So for example, shooting outside, check where the sun is. Is the sun really bright? There is a hack to get it a little less bright. That costs you no money if you have sunglasses. Just use your sunglasses in front of the lens, and it gives you that, well, a bit more shady light, and it does work. It does really look nice. But if you're in a room, this is not a room that's very well lit, but it looks like it because I have moved into the position of the room where most light is. There's a lamp right over my head, and there's light coming in from this side, so this looks nicely lit. If there are floor lamps or table lamps in the room, ask if you can use those to really bring in the light there where you want it. Just rearrange the lights to your taste, if you can. So that's basically what you can do for light. You could also bring a flashlight. You would have to use something to hold it up, and holding it in your hand might be a bit weird, and it's depending on what kind of flashlight you use. It might be one that's directed to one point, or it might be one that's more broad, and you need one that's more broad. Having said that on light, I want to quickly move to audio, and I think that's even more important than light, but it's something that is forgotten often enough in amateur videos to really get good audio. The best thing you can do, of course, is get a proper microphone. A proper microphone from big companies, the ones you would usually use in broadcasting, just to name a few: Sennheiser, Shure, Samsung, those big companies, Rode, those big companies that make proper microphones are also making microphones for smartphones. So look into that if you can, but there are some cheaper options available. But the cheaper you go, the less quality audio you will get. There is, however, one piece of audio equipment you probably already own, and that's the audio equipment I'm using right now. It's your headphones, and you can use it as a proper interviewing mic. I'm just going to take them out for a second. What you can do is, when you hold them like this, use them as a handheld microphone for doing interviews. Doing interviews like this can really get quality audio. Might look a bit weird at first, but if you don't have these things dangling from beneath, it doesn't look that weird at all. You can also use it as a sort of a clip microphone. by putting them into someone's shirt, like this. That will get you proper audio as well, but if you do that, you will only get the audio from the person you're interviewing and not your own. So be aware. So that's, sorry, gonna put this back in. So that's a way to get better audio. The other thing is, if you don't have your headphones on you, is being very aware of where your microphones are. Let's grab a phone here. If you have an iPhone, your microphones are here for video, or if you're using the selfie mode, they will be here next to the little lens. And there's one here in the bottom. That's the one you're using when you're doing a telephone call. Most Android phones, this is a OnePlus phone, most Android phones are not that different. They have a little microphone here, and a microphone here in the grill. If you can see, no you can't see because it's hardly visible, but they're there. And there's one right here. Let's see if I can get that in the picture. It's a tiny little spot in the bottom. So you have 3 microphones, and most of these microphones are actually pretty good. But if you're going to use them, you have to be very aware of the surroundings, especially when shooting outside. Even the tiny little whiff of wind will get your audio distorted. So try and find a spot where you're out of the wind. If you can't find that spot, you should maybe create that spot by blocking your microphone with something. Be aware that that could alter your shot, but that's a way to do it. Is there a difference in quality between the microphones? Yes, there is a difference in quality between the microphones, as in both the 3 microphones on your phone have just a tiny little tweaks that makes them either best for telephone voice recording very close by. That's the one on the bottom, and the one over here is adjusted just to have a bit more distance to the audio. But what makes them the same is that they all get the sound from all around and not just from a person speaking to it. It's not a directional microphone as such, so it will pick up any sound you have. So wind is a big problem because it's a very tiny little thing, the smartphone microphone, and if wind blows into it, it's horrible sound. So try and avoid that. And if you're recording sound with it inside, what you should really look for is a room that is either very silent or a room that has some adjustments to it to muffle the sound. One thing that muffles the sound is something like this. Well, I don't really know how to say that in English, but it muffles the sound. I'm actually, let me show you where I am. I'm in one of the tiny studios here at Omroep Friesland, where we sometimes record audio, so this room should be very good for audio. But those rooms will not be available all the time. So you have to look around if you can maybe increase sound quality by maybe closing some curtains to get less echo in. That would improve it. And also ask the person you're interviewing to really speak up, use their professional voice, maybe their acting voice, if you know what I mean. Really speak loud and clear. That will make it easier for your smartphone to pick up that sound and really focus on that sound. So good light, good audio, but also a steady shot. What I'm using now to do this live is a small Manfrotto tripod. Works very well with a shoulder pod on top. But if you don't have that on you, actually there's a lot of tripods in your surrounding you can use. First of all, if you're outside, a tree is a tripod. Just get you over here to the wall. Let's say this is a tree, put your phone against it and you have a tripod. Or a table can be a tripod. Put the phone down and you have a tripod. Anything in your surrounding can act as a tripod, but there are also some hacks you can use to build a tripod that gives you that little bit of extra stability and gives you the possibility not to constantly hold your phone. Let's see if I can show you what I mean. I have some tools here to build tripods for you. The first one you can use is, depending on where you are in the world, your connector, your power plug. You can put your phone in between those plugs and have a tripod. So actually you already own a tripod. If it's a three pole plug with 3 of these, then it's even more easy because it will hold your phone even better. But it works with 2 as well. You have to balance it a bit, but it's a tripod. Next up, if you have a water bottle, this is a rather elaborate water bottle, but it works with any water bottle, and a small rubber band. Let's say we put the phone here, put the rubber band around, and then move around the water bottle. It's a bit tricky. There you go. It's a tripod. See, I have my rubber band holding the phone to the water bottle, and I can go and shoot some video. So easy enough, cheap enough, but it works. Works perfectly. Next up, a paper cup. A paper cup can also be a tripod, but you have to be a bit of a MacGyver for this one, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna use a knife on this cup. Sorry.
Dan moest hij net de verontschuldigen dat je aan het werk bent, hoef je sorry te zeggen.
Sorry about that. I have to get my knife into the cup. Make a small incision here and one on the other side. Like that. Now I have 2 incisions and I can put my phone in between, and there we are. We have another tripod. I think this is even the cheapest option. The only thing is you haven't got anything to put your coffee in anymore. And what's also a very good tripod, duct tape. Just tape. You can just tape your phone to anything and you have a tripod. So those are a few of the hacks I sometimes use, because you know, even if you have a lot of stuff, sometimes that stuff fails and you have to find a solution for yourself to do mobile journalism anyway. So then you're going to be creative to find a solution. For me, that's part of the charm of being a mobile journalist, is that you can be creative not just in what you shoot, but also in how you shoot it. Is there any questions so far? Maybe a quick wrap up of what I said. You can buy a lot of stuff, but you don't need to. There are some cheap options to tackle what you really need for quality audio. What about a sock as a windshield? Yes, a sock as a windshield, that works very well. Oh, but there's one tiny problem. It looks really weird. It works. It blocks the wind, but anything with foam would block the wind, so you can use that. So there's always a solution to get good light, steady shots, and good audio. Just be a bit creative. If there are no more questions, then I would like to wrap up. Please do post some questions if you still have them, and I will try and answer them after this live. Thank you very much.